Now, India's second Grand Prix is over and Sebastian Vettel scorched his way to a comfortable victory yet again. But it was Force India who took away some of the limelight, with Nico Hülkenberg securing a place in the top 10 at number 8. The team's performance at the Indian GP boosted their total to 93 points, a stellar performance for a brand that has been growing from strength to strength in their 5 years of existence. What does this performance mean for brand Force India, and can the team sustain its phenomenal performance in the years to come? Tara Kapoor with all those answers.
If there was one man who could be called the Bernie Ecclestone of India, it would be none other than Vijay Mallya.
Top 5 this year.
Look at the parallels. Both are perpetually shrouded by controversy, both swim in the big bucks, both are party animals, and both define motorsports in their own right. Bernie across the world and Vijay Mallya in India. And while Vijay Mallya's other businesses may be crashing and burning, his Formula One team, Sahara Force India, seems to be racing to success.
Now they are consistently qualifying in the top echelon of the grid, and they are consistently finishing, in the points. That is great progress. No longer can a strategy miss having Force India.
Performance-wise, they started as a back-of-the-grid team, which is fine. Resources have been put in the right direction, and so which means the pace is there. The cars are strong. It needs probably an infusion of maybe another 30 or 40 million to take it to the next stage, which means to put it in constant battle with the Red Bull, McLaren or the Ferraris.
The journey for Sahara Force India started when a consortium led by Vijay Mallya bought the Spiker team for approximately 90 million euros in October 2007. A team that struggled financially through its initial years and changed shape from Jordan to Midland to Spiker, finally found some semblance of stability in its present-day avatar. And the difference this time around is the introduction of a much more cost-effective method of running the team's technology. The team has made some major improvements to their car through a partnership with McLaren, instead of solely bearing the financial brunt. Not only that, Force India strategically invests in reserve drivers who they promote to the race seat, a strategy that has proven to be very successful for the team so far.
I think the key milestones were, first of all, the reconstruction, which happened at the end of 2008. And then from there, we needed a year to understand where the chassis really was in 2009. And don't forget, rules are changing every year. And so each time you've got to find the new baseline and start again. Each time we've baselined, we've come back out again as a very consistent, what I would call best of the rest. So if we take the top 4 or 5 works teams out, I think Force India consistently has been the best performing team.
I became here in 2010 as the test and reserve driver, and gradually built my way up to a race seat, which I undertook in 2011 and continued on to 2012, and it's been successful, and the team has grown to become a very strong midfield contender.
I joined Sahara Force India at the beginning of 2011 as a reserve and test driver. Was promoted to the proper race driver in 2012, and enjoyed a year with the team this year very much.
Expectations are that once the brand lands a spot among the top 5 teams in the Constructors' title, there will be several global brands that will invest in the team. Sahara Force India is already well placed to do just that, as the team moves from 0 points in their first season in 2008 to 13 in 2009. A year later, Sahara Force India finished with 68 points, 5 times better than the last season. In 2010, they finished 6th in the Constructors' title with 69 points. And finally, this year, they already have 93 points with 3 more races to go. And as a result, according to the team management, they are already in early stages of talks with 2 big global brands. The initial advertisers were mostly brands from Mallya's business consortium like Kingfisher Airlines and United Breweries. But now, brands like AVG, Reebok and Pirelli Tires are on board as sponsors, along with a slew of small global brands who have their eyes set on India. The challenge for the team now is to get more Indian sponsors on board who want to utilize F1's global popularity and use the brand as a vehicle to make headwinds in other world markets.
Once you reach a level where they reach today, it's now where the sponsors are coming in. When the sponsors are coming in, you need two big sponsors and you're already laughing your way to the bank, or at least you're erasing your debts.
India is a country with vast wealth and lots of big companies, and yet the whole thing is sponsored by just the companies from these two guys. Now, why is that? Why is Tata Industries not on that car? Why is it supporting another team, two other teams? One has to ask these questions, and I think that's the fundamental question about it, is its purpose what it pretends to be? And I don't think it is.
We're running probably on less than 50% of the budget of the top teams. Both Vijay and Saharashri are looking very strongly now at how they can help with that and how they can increase the performance of the team through investment in infrastructure. I think, well, our vision will be the same as what Dr. Malia's visions are, that he wants to be a podium contender on a regular basis, and that's where we need to go. That's the next step for us.
However, there are two big setbacks for Team Force India. The first is that they need to make sure that they don't become a driver's training program of sorts and lose their current drivers to bigger teams. This has already happened with Fisichella in the past, with him moving on to Ferrari. Another major issue is the fact that the credibility of the two owners, Vijay Mallya and Subrata Roy, is questionable, which is a setback in terms of getting more investors on board.
Is it there to be a vehicle for India? I don't see that myself. I see it being as a vehicle for Vijay Mallya. A bit of an ego trip. I don't see it being very sustainable, given what I've heard so far about his business empire and the empire of Roy Sahara, who's also had some problems. So I see there being problems ahead for that, unless they can find new investors.
How things pan out for Sahara Force India will depend on whether the team can become bigger than the man and transform itself from being an added hobby for Vijay Mallya to a brand that represents India at the world stage.